I swear, it's better than Chris this morning. Wait till you guys see the... Ooh, look at that. Money shot. Cha-ching. We got everything in. We're ready to rock and roll. We get the block, it's honed. Got a torque plate honed. You can see the Dartons in there. We got the 84 millimeter JE pistons, 11-to-1 high compression, 147 rods, calico coated mains, Blaco sputtered rods. We got ARP head studs, we got ARP main studs. And down here, the guy running the whole show, whole set HX40, 67 millimeter billet wheel. We are ready to rock. Also got the oil pan all cleaned and everything, all the oiling stuff. And then I got the cylinder head over here. I had to order 2 new intake valves for it because they're unfortunately bent. But I brought the cylinder head back because I want to double check the cams again to make sure they are clearing. Here you can see I had to do some grinding and stuff. I had to do some grinding here and here and whatnot. Now, before we completely rebuild this head, put all the new valves, some seals in, get all the new valves in, I just want to make sure I don't have to do any grinding later on and get it all dirty. So we're gonna get rolling here again soon, and I'm gonna get this puppy on the engine stand, and god damn, everything came out really nice. So we're running between 23 or 2.3 and 2.5 thousandths on the mains, and we're running between 2.0 and 2.5 thousandths on the rod oil clearances. So pretty happy with that. And then we're running about 4 thousandths piston to wall clearances, and I'll explain more of this later, but this turbo came out sweet. So I'm gonna start clearancing the motor. I got the girdle off, I got the torque plate off, I got it all de-studded except for the mains, obviously. Basically, the first thing I wanted to check was to make sure that the piston skirt actually clears the crankshaft counterweight. So I put the bearing on, and you can see we have ample clearance. Really a ton of clearance. So not a problem there. I wanted to do that before I actually put the crank in and make sure the piston skirts clear the oil squirters. I mean, the only difference I made on these was move it down 0.2 millimeters. So really everything should clear, but always gonna double check for the final assembly, and then obviously I'm gonna clean the crap out of all this stuff before I assemble it. Next thing I wanted to do was check the oil squirter clearance. So I threw the crank in, threw the girdle on, just hand tightened everything, and I threw a rod and a piston in with no rings. And I'm gonna throw a light on here, but it looks like everything's clearing pretty well. So just give me a second here. Okay, so I got everything pretty focused, and you can see the oil squirter right there, and you can see how close the oil squirter is to the crank weight and also the piston. So if I turn this, you can see it's not hitting. It's hard to see, but trust me, it's not. So now basically I put a little piece of string between the squirter and the piston, and let's try and give it a little pull. Yeah. So plenty of clearance, probably at least a millimeter. And so now I want to check my piston to valve clearances and compare them to the old one. So I got my dial gauge indicator set up, and I got no valve spring in there. I'm just doing valve free drop, and I'm about to zero out my gauge. Sorry about my tool being in there. Cool. So about there. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the plier, and I'm just gonna watch the gauge. It's 100, 200, so about 260. So it's about 0.260, 0.270. It was 2.270 last time I did it. Inches of piston to intake side to intake valve piston clearance. Before I had 0.185, so I almost have a whole 1/100th of an inch more, which is a lot. So really happy about that. I'm gonna do the exhaust side real quick, but I'm not gonna record it because it's the same exact procedure. So I got all the clearances checked, pretty happy with everything. I got 0.270 inches of clearance on the intake, and I got 230 on the exhaust, which the exhaust is the same as last time. And the intake, I have a full 0.100 more inches than last time, which makes sense because it has 0.100 depth valve release. So everything's going really well. I'm gonna get the block all torn back down and start, I'll probably get it all torn down, get all the oil off it, and then I'll paint it, and then I'll do a final clean of everything. And then we can start putting together the bottom end this weekend, so pretty excited. Ended up painting some of the engine parts, pretty much just the block and oil pan for now, but came out pretty nice. I did a duplicolor ceramic primer and then the aluminum solver. Pretty happy with how it came out. And then I did the oil pan in black as usual. Looking pretty shiny. Nice gloss black. So got these all painted, and then I'm going to wait for this all to dry, probably let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'm probably going to start putting the crank in and whatnot, and start gapping the rings and putting the pistons in and getting the short block assembled. So should be fun. Also all my gaskets and everything shipped from Volvo, so those should be here shortly. Looking forward to it.